Oh,
Is she just going to watch the thing in the room?
good evening. Welcome to the Eureka Springs Hospital Commission regular meeting, August 19th, 2024. I'm going to call this meeting to order, and I'll start with a roll call.
Brian Byler, Commissioner.
David Carlisle, Commissioner.
Barbara Dix, Vice Chair.
Kent Turner, Chair.
Sandy Martin, Commissioner.
Angie Shaw, CEO.
Cynthia Asbury, CFO.
So we're missing two tonight, Sharon and Kate. Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of the July 15th, 2024 minutes. We haven't been able to get a hold of Kate, so we do not have those minutes. So we're going to have to that'll just going to have to be postponed until next month. I did send out the agenda on Friday. I'd entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Are there any additions, corrections, or changes to the agenda? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The agenda is approved. We have no members of the public here tonight, so we won't have any public comments. Committee reports, I'm going to defer anything talking about Oracle until we get down further below. The only other thing I'm going to add is it kind of falls under the auspices of the Finance Committee is the 2023 audit is completed. I'm reviewing some of the items that they've got on it. I think probably what will happen is at the next workshop, the auditors will in fact present the report to us and answer any questions. That's the way it's currently scheduled right now.
Good.
Hotel design update. I need to start talking to Tom again and see what we've got. We really haven't done anything. Angie, where are you at on going back through the?
When the auditors, the architects sent back what they thought the change in square footage, it seems appropriate. They cut quite a bit off, and that's what we were going to do. So.
And you've gone through that with all the different departments.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so maybe we'll get Tom to come back and we'll have a meeting where we can all sit down and really kind of go through it then. We've got some time because nothing's going to happen until after January, so we've got some time. Angie, CEO report.
All right. So I did have it out for you guys, but just kind of going over current stats. In July, we've seen 273 patients through the ER. That was a decrease from last year. Lab completed 692 orders, and radiology completed 264 exams, which was up from the month before. We will be partnering with physical therapist Brian Kent with Optimal Therapy of Northwest Arkansas. He's going to be taking over our physical therapy at both Huntsville and the Eureka location, looking at start between the 1st through the 15th of September. We're going to start marketing and getting that information out there and helping him get referrals and get those patients back in the hospital. We are continuing to work with Northwest Health Systems to arrange some specialties to utilize our clinic. We've had a few interests that are out of the Northwest system, one being an orthopedic surgeon and a cardiologist. We're still just working with them, trying to get some dates and information down. So they will be outpatient, so they'll see their patients, but they'll have access to our lab and our radiology when they need it. So that'll help with our outpatient services. I've also reached out to a contact regarding women's health as well as mental health and wellness, and I'm just waiting on a return contact back from them. Good news is we have upgraded the gurneys in the ER, in our ER 1, 2, and 3. They came in a couple of weeks ago. They are bariatric gurneys, so will allow for larger patients, as well as they have built-in scales, which was very important for our stroke and trauma program. That way, a lot of the medication that we give is weight-based, so we can get some accurate dosing. The business office, We continue to have issues with Oracle that's causing delays. Several of these have been in place since prior to go live. You know, we continue to follow up with them, trying to get them corrected at this point, and that's kind of where we stand. We do know that there have been some corrected, but there are some that are definitely causing some issues still. We continue to log SRs as they have requested to let them know that it continues to be an issue.
What percentage, if you can guess, is still not corrected? Is it a lot, medium, minimal?
Well, I mean, the thing is they've been, like, even if we log an SR for each one of them as they instructed us, well, they've started canceling and closing them out, saying there's already a current SR logged for this issue. So now they're taking it as like a global perspective for issues, which I do not like because it does not give a real relative value to how many claims and how much of our numbers is truly impacted by it. I think there's 9 critical ones still open affecting claims, which, again, when you mount that into the claims, I mean, it's a couple, I mean, half of our claims every day are having issues, so about 50 to 60% of them. So, I mean, it's,
That's a lot.
yes, correct.
And it continues to be on the financial side, you know, it's not, there are some issues on the clinical side, but the biggest area causing the delays is the financial side and the financial. Next, Jessica and I were able to attend the Mid-South Rural Hospital Conference this past Thursday and Friday in Memphis. They had a lot of good speakers. Of course, we were there to kind of focus on education regarding REH, which they did have a session in, you know, their focus during that was regarding legislation and proposals to bring programs back that critical access hospitals had that they can still utilize as an REH, such as the 340B program, which is pharmacy related, that brings funding back to the facility. So that is still one of the things that they're pushing at the federal level to kind of get some of those programs authorized for REH facilities. As of last week, there are 30 facilities across the nation, with the last one just being designated last week in Missouri. It was their first. There's 4 of us now in Arkansas.
But Angie, you say there's 30 REHs right now across the country?
Yes.
What we got?
Yeah. And then we were recently invited by the Rural Health Redesign Center, which has been helping facilities transition to REHs. And they are putting on their first ever rural emergency hospital education conference, and that will be in October. I'm still waiting for more information on it, but it'll be kind of nice that it's just for REH facilities. We're kind of all in the same boat with all the education. Now, I know Sam had sent out for marketing. I did attach a copy. I know she definitely has had a busy end of July as well as going into August. We do have a booth at the fair this year as we normally do, so if you go to the fair, please stop by. And then, just trying to see if there's anything else. She'll be focusing on marketing all of our outpatient services. And now that we have the new contract with physical therapist, she'll focus on that too.
That's a real plus for us. That kind of came to us by accident. This particular person had a lot of Eureka Springs patients in his Rogers office, and was actually looking for somebody to make it more convenient for his Eureka Springs patients. So consequently, I've already gotten a lot of people that have seen him tell me that they're really glad he's coming here, just in the last 2 days.
Do you know how many patients he had in your?
I have no idea. I didn't.
But a sizable amount to be interested in.
Yeah, I didn't ask him. Yeah.
Sandy, sorry, to answer your question, he did. He said he had about 8 to 10 current on his caseload, and they do come a couple days a week. So, I mean, it's almost enough to say a full clinic day of patients for one therapist, so.
That's good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And Somebody, one of his patients actually, who sent me to him, contacted him because he was looking for a storefront to open up. And I got totally confused. I'll tell you this joke. My name is Brian Kent Turner, and you notice his name is Brian Kent.
Yeah.
I got totally confused when he answered his phone because he said Brian Kent. And I went,
Hello, hello, hello?
but I think that's a real plus. I'm glad that Angie was able to get a contract with him. So
Excellent.
What's the specialty?
he's physical therapy.
Physical therapy, great. Okay, that's the
How
name.
many, how many do we have that how many have we been seeing here in our area under our,
Back when we were running it full-time, probably
Maybe probably,
15 to
I would say 10 to 15 is what we had at each clinic kind
so
of
we
thing.
can,
So,
and we pick up what,
Yeah.
additional,
Yeah.
get back to full-time.
Questions for Angie? Any other questions for Angie?
I have one. Sam is doing a great job marketing. Does she have a marketing budget, or what does her expenses fall under?
She has a marketing expense.
Expense?
Yeah.
We don't
But
have any
we-
budgets. We got to get to that.
Well, I know, but so it shows up as an expense on our,
we do report, yes, we report them as marketing expenses directly, depending on all of our different outreach programs and stuff. So,
okay.
I mean, most of them is just a repeat of every year kind of events that happen and that she's at. So we did expand it this year at the fair to take on a higher level sponsorship, to have the banner inside the arena and to get some additional front face marketing of that that'll remain
Right.
up at the fairgrounds year round
Yeah.
until next year. So we did
This-
kind of feel like that was a good move forward. So
This was the first year that we've actually done that. Usually we'll get a booth, but we've never had the banner, so, and that will stay up year round.
Other questions? Thanks, Angie. Cynthia, CFO report.
Okay. The first page, behind the cover page, is our bank balances. You will see that the balance is up. We did receive the second half of our money, the 1st of July, for our REH conversion from the state. It was a little over 2.2 million, so that is recorded there, that we received. So that's the full funding from the state for the conversion. I'm like, the next page, sorry, this water keeps dripping and getting the papers over here, so I'm like. The next page is our revenue usage and summary. We were down this past month, just compared to June. We were down about 19%. Our operating remained kind of steady, what we've seen. I mean, I think some of the services was just like Angie had mentioned, the ER services, just, the billable revenue was up, but some of the other kind of, I think, just, we have our PT being down because we had absolutely none for the month of July. So that's kind of what accounts for a lot of our billable revenue that's recorded on this revenue usage and summary. So everything else remained pretty consistent. So, and the next page is going to be the income statement for July. I mean, overall, it seems to be trending pretty well. I will say, I mean, our expenses and stuff, I mean, I do think there's still some room for improvement across those on some areas. Just kind of fine tuning because we are running, I mean, as you can see, our net income for the month was only 1.8, but we did book 2.2 that we received from our REH conversion. So we would have had a pretty significant, about $400,000 loss. Part of that is just kind of, I think, is through all of this, we do have a lot of the contractuals that was recorded in this month. As in previous months, I told you with MedHost, we hadn't gotten caught up in current, as well as our current posting of payments in Oracle to record some of that. But I think there's still some room for improvement on the financials of expenses sometimes on that. So, and that is all that I have. So, any questions?
Questions?
Nope.
Overall, what do you think?
I mean, I think some of the stuff, I mean, kind of two-part. I mean, I do think there's room that, again, just kind of looking, maybe, again, just doing another high-level overview of all the areas, departments, where can we drill in on some expenses now that we've got reports, department by department, you know, just every little bit we can kind of shave down will help. I think we have room, I mean, in Oracle system, we're missing some of our charge capture from charting and stuff not being completed from nursing. side of things. Sometimes some of the procedures aren't being captured,
So
or they're
this-
being entered
This
late.
could be a little bit better than what we're seeing right now if we get the Oracle thing.
Yes,
resolved,
yeah.
right?
There's some things within Oracle, and then again, yeah, just kind of, I
So
think
Angie, if the legislature does decide to allow back in to rural health some of these things that they've taken out, will this help the bottom line? Or is it a profitable situation for us? Or
Some
is it
of
just
them can. Some of them would generate revenue.
Okay.
It's really kind of unfair to compare it to the previous year
It
right
is.
now
It is.
yes.
without,
It's a totally different operation.
Yeah.
yeah, and we don't have that baseline yet, with it, so,
We won't get that until.
Till
after.
2025,
yeah,
yeah.
the end,
That's really
yeah,
good.
the end of the year.
And then
'Cause I
even
looked
in-
at that too and went, holy cow, why are we,
Right.
and we don't have that revenue source anymore.
And even in comparison of next year, we will not have all the grant money recorded to the tune of, that we have on this year's
Yeah.
to inflate the bottom line on the income as well. But yeah, we can look at service lines, line for line, a little more comparable.
Cynthia, are we still having problems with, what do I want to say? With charges not being dropped or not being submitted or,
I know we have some SRs out there regarding charges, because I know that Jessica, Joy, and I spent time on a call. Well, we all were on a call for an hour, and then they were on another call for another hour trying to get it to duplicate what it was doing. And Cerner couldn't figure out what it, so they escalated it. So there are, I think, yes, there are user error, but then I think there's also some system issues still.
can we fix the user errors? I mean, is that something that we can do?
I do think we can. I mean, we just got to start holding the accountability and setting the expectations, of that. I did point out examples today to Jessica, our CNO, of where, again, this procedure was not charted in the system. It's going to drop if it's charted. You can't put it in a free text box because it's not going to, that's not the system. It's not going to make the charge drop. That's not how the algorithm is built in Oracle, so.
So was she trained with Oracle or did she come in after the fact?
Who, Jessica?
Jessica came in after the fact. She has,
She was, but she's used Cerner at other facilities, but it's a little different compared to what we have.
and we have the learning journeys, different learning applications that Oracle gave us that every end user, when they do come in now, can set and be kind of brought up to speed on our current system. So they're really nice tool and training assets, so.
Would it pay us to pay them to come back for a week and retrain these people that don't understand how to charge?
I do not. I think just using our resources and truly, again, holding feet to the fire, making them figure this, because some of this, it's end user things. We had some of the same problems in our old system. We're having the problems of those are carrying forward into our new system, which is not okay. So,
Yeah,
that's.
it's not their lack of knowledge. It's just basically the way the system is with Oracle and everything going on.
Yeah.
And if I understand it correctly, it is some resistance to change,
Change.
which is usually people are not using it the way they should be. To answer your question a little bit further, we're not paying them now, so we're not going to pay them to come in and do anything else, okay?
But I wonder, those that do understand the system as it is, if we could have a workshop internally with these people and say, look,
Well, that's where we have asked, the CNO and ER director to go back and try to help re-educate, but honest opinions at sometimes of, you got to know the system to be able to go forth and train the ones under you. So, I think that's where we lack some issues of problems there is being able to reciprocate it further down the line, so.
sometimes if you leave it up to a person to do their own training, they're not going to do it. But if they sit in a meeting and hear it and see it, then they either get it or they don't, is my opinion.
It's about quality control, though. We've got to start exercising quality control over the staff to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And that's,
And we may need to help them with information saying, look, this is how it's got to be. Our whole goal is to keep this hospital running and you employed. I'm done with my soapbox.
Oracle has, things have not been great. I did have another call with the higher-ups of Oracle. I do think we got some of their attention this time because they have a tendency to be taking things a little bit more serious. The I-access issue that was an issue that we thought was just us ends up not being just us. It ends up being a system-wide issue, and so there's stuff that they've got to start addressing. The thing about dropping SRs, we had a long discussion about that. If there's an SR if there's an SR that's being dropped because they're saying they're waiting on information from us and they're not, I need to know about that immediately because I've told them that I would report that back to them, and they've assured me that they would address it because that's not supposed to be the case. I actually felt like they were listening this time as opposed to giving me platitudes as to the previous time.
Were there different people on it?
No,
Same
but
people?
I was different. But it is, unfortunately, they finally admitted that they've gone from a small company to a gigantic company. And that's created a huge problem for them. Because I was honest with them. I told them the same thing I told you guys last time. Had I known that Oracle was going to take over Cerner, I probably would have voted against going for Cerner. Because that is don't get me wrong, I still think it's a good system, but that is a big thing for us to be right in the middle of, and we could have waited 2 years and maybe avoided a lot of this stuff. But it could have also cost us 3 times more than it's costing us this time, so.
Correct, yes.
But I was very frank with them about that, and I actually said that to them. I said, had I known that Oracle was going to purchase Cerner, I would have been a vote against it on the commission to ever do this. And that's when they started taking me a little more serious, so.
So when we do pay Oracle, is that being set aside, the money we're going to owe them, or is it going to come out one big sum in a month?
Instead of being accrued,
It is not, no.
it's not being accrued, so it's going to be a big chunk, so. We should start accruing it. Okay, we should start accruing it. And then we won't get a big hit. But that's kind of where we're standing. It's just fighting through it now. I mean, it's just we can't go back, and we've got to push forward. There's just no way around.
What is that accrual to date? Roughly, what's it?
How much do we
look
owe
like?
today? You know,
I don't know if I've actually seen an invoice for our monthly services
They
yet.
actually haven't sent
Sent
an
us
invoice.
one.
that's probably brave on their part, but don't kid yourself. They will send it in. They will send a backdated invoice. Okay, so.
So
You
we
need to,
don't
you need to call them, and if they don't give you an answer, I'll get an answer. Cynthia, you need to call them and ask them for a back. What?
Okay, I'll reach out,
Okay.
and see what we can.
So when they're asking for payments, they're not telling you how much up to date we owe them? I mean,
They haven't sent an invoice, they have not sent any invoice at all yet.
but they
They haven't.
keep telling.
The
us-
only invoices they have sent us were for training and for on-site and go live and things leading up to go live and post that, not the day-to-day operation monthly service fees of the
You're
system.
missing
So-
what they're saying. They're wanting us to sign off on this, then they will invoice us. We
Yeah.
are not signing off on it.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but they're still going to charge us for all this time, aren't they?
Well, that
Presumably, eventually.
eventually, but some of that could be disputed too. So, you know, let's
Oh, yeah.
just figure out what the monthly charge is. I mean, we should know what that is. That's in the contract, so we can.
I was going to ask.
We can at
what
least,
does the
we can
contract
at
say?
least accrue that much.
Have we paid them for that training, though? Have they
We have
paid that?
not.
Okay.
No, because we asked for itemized lists.
Yes, absolutely.
There's some things that they haven't done that they were supposed to have done still too. So, there's some systems that are supposed to be in place that are not. I know of one, and I think there's another one. But the dictation system, which is not, and they're saying it wasn't part of the contract, but it was.
It was in our, it was in our
So,
scope of work from the
we're-
original signed, and our project manager was made aware of that in December when I sent him a snippet of that sales order that we signed, saying it was in there.
Yeah.
So they had plenty of time.
I
to
wish
see
I could say this is unusual and we're being mistreated. It's really not.
I've talked to a couple other places, they've went live and they've honestly not had issues and they're actually pretty successful in the system. I think our problem, kind of hindsight we've learned, is that our implementation team, we were their first implementation. A lot of them were new, green, and we were their first site.
We were
to
their
go.
first implementation with new
A bunch
bosses,
of rookies, and
Yes, unfortunately, and
where there was an experienced crew in another
Yeah.
place that worked out fine.
with
Yes.
new bosses,
yes.
with all new
Yeah.
bosses. So,
So,
Yes, don't spend a dime, don't spend a dime.
there's one thing I didn't put on the agenda that I want to just bring up because I don't want anybody to be sidelined. I have been talking to the mayor and the police chief. We're having issues, transport issues. We have critical patients that need to be transported and we can't get them transported. There's been some issues in the past, which I think we're now beyond. I had an extremely good meeting with the mayor and with the fire chief. And we're now, all of us, looking for solutions. And that solutions may end up costing us some money because that solution may end up meaning that we have to buy another ambulance for transports, which is not a cheap proposition. But that's something that we can do, and it's something that we've got to be able to do because we can't just let patients lie.
By we, you mean the city,
By the hospital.
the hospital.
The hospital.
Another ambulance.
By another ambulance, by a hospital ambulance.
But there's,
Right, it'll
we're
be in
looking
the
at multiple,
system.
we're looking at multiple ways of handling that. That could be one scenario where there's an ambulance that sits there at the hospital and doesn't do anything except transport. But we have to work with the fire department in order to have the staffing for that,
Right.
for that ambulance. So,
Who's paying for the
and,
staffing?
you know,
Right?
I mean, there's been a lot of discussions. One of the things we even said is since we're downsizing the hospital, we might want to make the emergency room entry bay twice the size. And that could in fact host, that could be a place where that ambulance could sit. Because one of the problems the fire department has is they don't have a place for another ambulance. And there's no new fire department, fire building on the horizon. But
I mean, this problem it's statewide, nationwide, it's everywhere. That's our challenge, to me, it's understanding it's an incredible problem everywhere.
It is, and the problem is most EMS people, from what I've told, Angie's told me this now, and so has the fire chief, they don't like to do transports. So you have problems even finding people that do nothing but transports. So just to let you know, we're looking at alternatives because those have all been public conversations, and I just want you all to know that I did talk to the fire chief this afternoon. He and I happened to be at the same meeting, and he said they've sat down and they've got some things that they're going to suggest. So I'm going to meet with him again to see what his suggestions
I
are.
think an encouraging thing would be is if we could get somebody that would move into the area that's a paramedic. And also, I think we've got enough EMTs probably to cover that transfer ambulance, but it's that paramedic. If we had a local paramedic, like when my son was local, he could jump in as a third out and pick up that transfer. But most of our guys now are not in the area, and that's what becomes a problem, because they're not going to drive from Rogers or, wherever to do the transfer.
Ironically enough, we've got quite a few paramedics in the area. I just don't know whether any of them want to do transport.
What's our liability if we take it on ourselves?
Well, that's something we'd have to look at. We have, probably nothing more than the city has for doing it through the city. But because we are a city entity, so, but we'd have to look at all of that. And what I wanted to do was just start a discussion so people could start thinking about it, because until a year ago, when I talked to the mayor about the same problem, the subject was closed, just because the fire department didn't want to have anything to do with it. Okay? We're at least, I think, moving beyond that. Because now that we've got an issue that's critical, we've got to look at something else. We're going to look at people who supposedly do contracts, but I'm being assured by that they won't do them, or they'll be so expensive we won't be able to afford them. There is one Southern supposedly does contracts for transports, but it may be twice as expensive as.
Yeah, we're better off to look at trying to staff it locally and do something locally, I think, because you never know the volume of the hospital. And so therefore, if you're contracted with someone like that, how long will they stay? Just like everybody's experienced over in these other areas where they don't stay around because they don't have enough volume to justify what they're doing. So that third ambulance thing is still probably a better thought in the overall.
It's we just started discussing.
Yeah.
So
At least the discussion's going on, that's a good thing. Yeah, because it really affects us now that we're rural, our new status. We gotta be able to move those people out and get them transferred.
well, and it's been a problem anyway. I mean, it's been a problem for a long time. I mean, if you have a multi-person accident, it's a real problem.
It's been a problem since probably 2013,
Yeah.
if not longer than that.
So baby steps. We just have to see see
We resolve Oracle and we find an ambulance.
see what we can do.
We're going to conquer the world.
The summary.
The costs of ambulances are mind-boggling to me, though. Anyway, commission, does anybody have anything else? Since I brought up something new, but I wanted to make sure that you all were aware of that those discussions.
Good discussion.
Commission comments.
Good discussion. Good discussion.
David,
I'll second that.
Barbara?
Only thing I'd like to say is I thought we had a good workshop, an interesting workshop.
I did too.
UAMS people with the Digital Health Institute. And I think they're going to follow up pretty much. The tour, I understand, went very well.
And they were going to go back and put their heads together and get back with me.
It was, I
There-
thought
And
it
I
was.
did
thought it was-
get a call from Christopher and Brenda. They found a grant that may be a potential for us, but they're working on it. I haven't heard anything back from it, so we're on their radar for sure.
All working.
I've actually given their website out to 2 people already, so. But
Products are great.
as far as my comments, the only comments I have is that I know this is tough, and I know change is difficult. Our staff has been really good, but they really need to step up, because the change has got to happen. I mean, we don't have a choice on what we're doing, and we've got to start doing things the way that they need to be being done. And so consequently, while I praise them, at the same time, I tell them that they've got to reach down and take a look at what's going on, so that they know what's happening, because Barbara makes a good point. If we can't make this work, nothing's going to work. Next workshop is on September the 2nd, 2024, 2 p.m. at 25 Norris. And our next regular meeting is September 16th, 2024, at 6 p.m.
And the September workshop is going to be on the architecture.
It's going to be on the architecture, or it may
I'm
be
out of town.
very well be on ambulance, based upon my conversation.
And/or budget.
And our budget. It may very well be based on ambulance, based upon my discussion with
Labor
the
Day.
fire
Labor
chief
Day, isn't
today,
it?
this afternoon.
Is that Labor Day?
That is Labor Day. That's what I was supposed to say. That's Labor Day.
Is that Labor Day?
Yes, that's why I was like, that's a holiday.
Oh, no. That's a Monday? It's a Monday holiday, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, Labor Day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
They got a holiday that day.
Yeah. Some of us have a holiday.
Some of us have a holiday, that's,
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm like you, Ken. I don't,
I'm like-
holidays are,
I don't even
They
think
don't
about it, that's
exist
my
anymore.
problem. So,
When you drive by the hospital on a holiday, there's nobody there.
I can't do it on I can't do it on the 9th. How about the 3rd? Can we do it on the 3rd, the next day?
Tuesday.
Tuesday at noon?
I'm good.
Excellent.
Are you good? Are you going to be off?
I'll be there.
Okay. Is that okay?
I'm like, I'm not going to be there on the 2nd.
Great.
So we are changing the next workshop to September 3rd, 2 o'clock. Okay? Does anybody have anything else? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 6:33.